Hey, what's up? It's Mike coming to you guys with another episode of Keep It Moving Podcast. Y'all know what it is. Tonight's episode is going to be very, very different. We got a couple sick folk with us, including my boy JT.
Whoa.
Novelty is here with us as always.
What's up? I'm not sick. I'm just a little tired, but I'm not sick.
And I have a headache out of this world. It's like y'all could have rescheduled. Y'all know ain't nobody forcing y'all.
JT
But we
said he was
we
gonna
doing this.
in.
We are doing it for the
I had to
people.
press my way.
I had to press my way. So we're gonna see how this goes. Before we get into any of our topics, I do have a couple things I wanted to I guess talk to you guys about. First thing being my brother, old TJ. This dude, I don't understand. Like he's doing good. He's stepping his game up. He went from sleeping on my couch or my spare bedroom to having his own house.
Y'all was roommates.
We weren't roommates.
Y'all been roommates for a while.
No, he was
Sometimes on weekends.
he was freeloading on my couch.
You didn't know you had a roommate, but you was his roommate.
Roommates pay rent. That's the difference. He was freeloading. But, he got his own spot, and then he also has 2 vehicles. Got a job. He's doing big. He's doing big things.
Good for him.
But his priorities is still all the way jacked up, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, this dude came over, and I'm glad he's gone, because he probably would have got upset at the fact that we having this conversation. But he came over, and he's talking about, hey, do you got some laundry detergent? I'm like, that's normal stuff that people should have. You got a house, 2 cars, and that's not even the problem. The problem is just this Tuesday, you posting and flossing on Facebook all of these damn dollar tacos you got for Taco Tuesday, but you can't buy, laundry detergent. That doesn't make sense to me. And then I said,
"This is weekly."
Yes, every week he's always getting
Well,
some
that's
dollar
why
tacos.
he don't buy it.
Because what?
Because he know you going to give it to him.
No, I ain't gonna give him shit. And I said, bruh, why wouldn't you go and spend your dollar taco money on some detergent? He said, well, the tacos cost $1. I said, but Negro, you got 30. You always have a platter full of dollar tacos.
Maybe he think it's more bang for his buck.
He's always eating. I remember the last time he came over here, he came and he brought some ribs, right? Mm-hmm. And ribs, they're not cheap.
Nah, not at least.
But you spend your money on ribs, and now you ask me for deodorant. Just
all the essentials.
Yes,
he don't have.
All he cares about is eating. He will spend his last on some food, and I just don't understand where that comes from. Like, when do you get to the point where you are all the way responsible and just not a little bit?
Oh, my sister's 32 with 2 kids, and she still ain't.
But we know your sister, and she's just special. She's different. Life is different for her. So
Whatever.
I feel like that's the safest way I can say.
Life is different.
Life.
She from Earth too.
I don't know. You get responsible when you have no choice but to be responsible.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
mean,
much it.
I went and made some brownies one day. I called my auntie, asked her if she had some oil. She wasn't home. I went over to her house and got it. Instead of going to the grocery store and buying it. But my thought process was, how often do I make brownies? Once every 6 months? What do I need to get a bottle of oil for? So,
to cook.
But I don't cook anything else with oil. So it would have just sat there.
It don't, like, oil don't, does oil go bad? Is that a thing?
Mm-mm.
No.
She's just talking.
It would have just sat there. I remember when I first moved in to my first place, this was over 15 years ago now, 15, 20 years ago, something like that. I bought flour. I bought, what's that baking soda in case you have a grease fire.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason I bought the baking soda. In case I have a grease fire. That same can of baking soda is in my cabinet from 20 years ago. And so is that same bag of flour. That's how often I use flour.
Who prepares for, well, I guess that's a good thing to prepare for a grease fire, but that's not something that's normal, is it? Like,
I was always told to make sure you have baking soda in the cabinet in case you have a grease fire. So I bought some.
I never heard that. You've been speaking to a lot of grease fire individuals. That's what they do.
That's
Some
just always what
non-cookers
my
talking
grandmother
to you.
used to say. Make sure you keep baking soda in the cabinet just in case you have a grease pot. I bought a coffee pot because she told me I had to have a coffee pot. I told her I didn't drink coffee. She said, but somebody might come over that wants to drink coffee. I ain't made a cup of coffee out that coffee pot yet. Right, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, some things I'll ride around the corner and grab from my auntie when I know good and well it's something I won't use for 6 or 7 months, a year. But detergent, I always have detergent.
Right on. And what about deodorant?
Yeah, that's important.
Do y'all use the spray on deodorant or what do you use?
The Secret, the clear.
Okay.
It's like a dry, I don't want to call it a roll-on because it's not a roll-on. It's a bar.
I don't even know why I cared to ask that question. It just all of a sudden I'm like, I wonder, and I went with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, another thing I wanted to ask you guys. I got my boy Kevin that I work with. This dude is he's. I try to attribute it to the fact that he didn't grow up in America, so he thinks differently. But there may be other people out
Where'd
here
he
that
grow
think
up?
like him. He grew up in Kenya.
Cool.
And so, we were talking about him and how he treats his female friends. And in his mind, if you have female friends, then you can talk to them any kind of way, just like you do your male friends. Now, I know there are certain things I can say to JT, and he understands. It's bullshit. We bullshit. But it's other things that I wouldn't say to Novelty that I would say to JT. And one of his example,
Like what?
his example was he told his friend, she asked like, how do I look? He said, you look like a slut. And
I like it.
he
I
said,
like it.
he should be able to say that to her because that's
should.
his friend.
Yeah.
He should.
I should be able to tell you, you look like a slut.
If I ask you how I look, I want the truth.
Like a slut.
If I say, do I look fat? I personally want the truth.
But
Don't
it seems like
sugarcoat
that's a startup question.
But
if you give them the truth, it's gonna trickle down to other shit.
But
what?
but that,
And so just to me,
understand.
I just say yes. You look all right, and keep it moving.
Because
It's
you don't
different.
have to.
I don't want to deal with the other questions and
Exactly.
attitudes and whatnot.
But see, I think it's different when you're dealing with your girl than it is dealing with your friend.
Right.
If I ask you, do I look like a slut? I really want to know. Is this
But you
too
didn't say,
much
do
clean?
I look like a slut? How do I look? And he said,
You look slutty.
because the opportunity presented itself, he wanted to go with,
Go in deep.
yes. He said he couldn't let it pass. I'm like, I mean,
I don't see
That's
anything
weird to me.
necessarily wrong
Maybe
with
people
it.
like that look. You know.
Perhaps his choice
I
of
mean,
wording
slut
could have
is
been
the
a little
new-
better,
the
but
new look.
The slut look.
Yeah.
oh, was
It's
that what
been
she
going
was
on
trying to
for a
go
minute.
for?
No, I don't
Oh.
think so. She wasn't going for Shay Slut. That wasn't what she was looking for.
But I mean, I don't think it's anything wrong. If I look like a slut, I want you to tell me you need to go change. Otherwise, you're not my friend. I don't think you're a real friend if you can't be honest and tell me I look stupid. I look.
What is, I
hoish,
can say,
look slutty.
that doesn't really look good on you without calling you a slut.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to use that wording, but I would prefer you be honest.
And you wouldn't get offended if I told you look like a slut. I'm
And then when she cuts you out,
Yeah.
all of a sudden 3 hours
yeah,
later,
she packing up and she's ready to go. Offended.
Yeah. You
mean,
might
I
not think,
wouldn't.
but that it's in her mind.
Uh-huh.
What you said, and it's gonna come back.
No, I
that's
don't.
gonna weird
yeah,
as
because she's a woman and that's what y'all
y'all
do.
record shit. I'm telling you.
No. You
Andy-
right there.
What you gonna say?
You right there.
Andy called me a slut.
Uh,
Slut, yeah, it's gonna
It's
come
an
back.
and. He did something, and I'm gonna add this to. And you called me a slut, you motherfucker. You know,
I don't
See?
disagree.
And I'm like, I knew that was gonna come
I
back.
don't disagree. We do record stuff.
Yeah.
So why set yourself up for that?
However,
'Cause it's
but-
gonna come back.
Because I don't ask the question unless I'm ready for the answer. That's me. I won't ask the question if I'm not ready for the answer. Some women will. See, and I think it's your relationship with that person. You get to know
Now
a
that
person,
I can agree with.
and if you know that person can accept that comment, you could go right ahead and say it.
But he doesn't care whether they can accept it. The fact that she put it on the table, and
He was just asking the question to him.
This is what
Gender,
he's been.
gender ain't specific on
Yeah,
for him.
I don't
for
think
him.
that's cultural though.
I
well,
think so. I think men talk different to women in different
No,
cultures.
I don't think that's cultural. You said he doesn't care whether she can take it or not. I don't think that's cultural. That's just some people. Some people
So
don't
just
care
some
if they
people are
hurt your
just
feelings
assholes.
or not. They just assholes. They don't care.
Now another thing that that's different to me with him is when he's like on a date and he's uncomfortable. he believes that it's his job to make her uncomfortable so that he feels better.
Well, that's
about
just stupid.
That's just insecurity.
I
That's
know.
just stupid.
I'm like this. It makes absolutely no sense. You should focus on trying to. Just me. I want to make sure that she's. I don't care if I'm uncomfortable. I want her to be her to be comfortable.
I want to feel comfortable.
Well,
too.
but I can take it. I'm a man.
But you ain't having no fun if you're uncomfortable.
I
want to be loose around somebody that I'm dating. I don't want to be.
But that's what I was saying. I told him I think you should focus on trying to make yourself more comfortable versus making her uncomfortable and letting that be.
Let's both.
Honestly, that's just childish.
Oh, I agree with that.
And if that's the way he's gonna be, if I was on a date with him, and he's uncomfortable, he's trying to make me uncomfortable, I won't be going on another date with him.
That's what I was thinking.
Damn near might leave.
That's
in
just
the middle.
childish.
Right. It don't, and you don't think that's cultural? You think people do that? Period.
I think that's just stupid people. No offense to your friend, but that's just.
We didn't have this conversation.
I know
so he
men
knows
here that'll do stupid stuff like that. I had to catch my wording.
You can say shit. We give you permission.
I do know men here that do stupid things. So I don't think that's cultural. I think that's just stupidity, childish. Eventually you grow up.
I like to believe that it's cultural. I'm sure it's not, but that's what I tell his ass.
You want to live in that world. Okay.
You on Earth 3.
The last, mini question that I wanted to pose came from one of our fans. Her name is Shantae Washington.
Woo,
and she wanted
Shantae.
to know, what does it say about a woman, or what does it tell you about a woman if she has 5 kids and 3 baby daddies?
She likes to have sex without condoms to various different men. Point blank. That's what I gather.
Could you date her?
Yeah, I can always date her, but
I
already know where it's going to end. She might not know.
That's so it ain't gonna go beyond dating in your mind.
Oh man,
what if you fall in love with the kids?
No, I don't fall in love with kids. That never happened. That never happened. And they 5. I'm trying to fall in love with one, and you got 5. Nah.
Now, what about you, Novelty? What do you think it says about a woman?
Well, she had a lot of fun. I hope. It says to me that she's just either she is insecure about something and she's looking for security in a man, or she just don't care. She open her legs to anybody.
She got daddy issues.
That one as well.
She wouldn't care for.
Now, I said pretty much the same thing you guys are saying, and she wanted to know, like, why did I think that it was a negative thing? Like, it's like I almost felt like she was looking for somebody to take care of her kids. If she's out here dating, she's looking for somebody to take care of her kids, or the baby daddies aren't doing their job, and so she's out here searching for somebody else.
Okay. I think what makes it a negative thing to me is you have the first one. The first baby daddy ain't there taking care of his kid. You go to the next one. What are you finding in these men? Because they all seem to have the same thing in common. They make babies and don't want to take care of their kids.
But why did we assume that they weren't taking care of the kids? Because they're not with the woman? I made the same assumption. So
you make a good point. Why did we assume? Just because most single females now, that's the situation. Most women in that position, that's the situation. Unfortunately. But it was an assumption. Are they taking care of their children?
I don't know. It was just a question that she posed. So I don't know if this is a real situation or anything like that. But it was just interesting that I, just like you guys, I went for the negative. I didn't really see anything
I didn't
positive.
Go negative. I just said that's what she liked.
Well, you said she got daddy issues.
Oh, well, that part.
But normally that's what that comes back to. Mm-hmm. A woman that many kids. I'm 42. I don't have one. I know how to use birth control. I use 2 forms, one for life, one for death. I understand that. And don't get me wrong, sometimes condoms break, sometimes the pill don't work, but the majority of the time, both of them work. And when you use them both together, they really work. So if you know you're struggling as a mother with one child, why put yourself in the position to have more and continue to struggle? Mm-hmm. I think that's my whole thing.
Was she even married with? That makes a difference also with
with any of them.
With any of them, I can see her. She was married and had a couple of kids. Excuse me, it didn't work out, and then she's with another gentleman. Okay, was she married then? And then she had another gentleman. Well, you just partying then. You keep on going. Okay, you were married the first time, but after that, okay, you're putting yourself in a different statistic now.
One baby daddy, shit happens. Two, okay, well, maybe shit happened and then you got married. But once you hit that third, it becomes a.
And usually the men got more kids somewhere else. Have a child by some other chick, or some other family, and she don't know. I can see if she was lied to, okay, the first or second time, like Novelty said, but if the situation keep on perpetrating itself, what are you doing out in the streets? What's your end game?
What's your end game? Yeah.
What you trying to do?
I mean, what would you think about a woman who was divorced 3 times?
She ain't got it
that
right.
Marriage ain't for her.
Something ain't right. I mean,
or she keeps choosing the wrong guys.
But she's the common denominator.
That's it. She's the common denominator. At some point, you have to say, why does that person keep making the same mistake?
I'm looking for the wrong person, and that's when the daddy issues come in.
So, I can see that.
Maybe she don't know what a good man look like.
Well, I was about to say clearly, but she might even. Well, if she's dating. Clearly, she's not with that third guy, so she's on to the. Yeah. Well, sometimes it happens. They can be dating, they can be married and still dating. This is America. This is 2016. Things are changing. But let's switch on to some positive news. Something I know is positive.
What?
A New York valedictorian has been accepted to all 8 Ivy League schools. Her name is Augusta Uwamanzuna. Okay. I think her parents are Nigerian, but she was born here.
So she's not a Caucasian.
No.
That don't sound like a person from the
Caucasus. She was the Elmont High School valedictorian. Like I said, she's been accepted to Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, Princeton, University of Pennsylvania, and Yale. And she's also gained admission to Johns Hopkins, MIT, and a couple other schools.
Wow.
What you trying to do?
So she's doing the damn thing. I'm like, I don't think I could. Well, I know I couldn't have got into now.
Not one.
They wouldn't even. It's like the postman
looked at mine and just laughed.
He wouldn't even deliver my application. Like, yeah, right, nigga. That's what he would have said. Yeah, right. Like you reaching. But, shout out to her, just spreading a little bit of positivity after all the nonsense we just talked about. But y'all know it's going to change. Y'all know it's going to change. We're going to switch over to my boy. Now, every now and then, I like to partake in alcoholic beverages,
Libation.
Yes. And I don't really have a problem with it.
More now than then.
No, we ain't talking. Hey, you're doing too much. But it was in Australia where we had this guy. He went. They made it seem like they don't really sell alcohol everywhere, and so you got to travel out of town damn near to get you some alcohol. Well, he went with his family, including some kids, and bought a couple 30 packs. And on the way back, they got pulled over. Police found that they holding kids. The kids are sitting on the floor of the back seat, but the 30 packs are in the seatbelts because the 30 you gotta secure. You gotta keep it secure. Now the babies, they know better. They know how to rock and move, and like if we move into, they know what to do. Well, I don't know about the one that was less than 1 year old. They may not know, but I know who don't know. The beer don't know. So you gotta secure the beer.
Well, what's the law over there as far as wearing your seatbelt?
Well, considering that he was arrested, I think that was against the law.
I was gonna try to help him out, but I guess I can't.
No, he wasn't thinking about that. Maybe they wasn't his kids.
He was in a championship game on it. He
was trying to get back.
About,
that the beer is safe and secure for the championship game.
Maybe he was worried that beer, if it starts rolling around the cabin of the car, can knock somebody out. But a baby.
But if it's on the floor,
how many kids were in the car?
I don't.
And
think
it was just babies. I'm like, I know nobody couldn't put it in their lap.
Well, somebody was carrying a baby in the lap, but there were kids in the back that were just on the floor of the seat. I mean, where you put your feet. They call it the footwell or something like that. While the beer was taking up the seat.
Why they had the babies down there though?
They safer down there.
No, they ain't.
Oh,
poor babies.
Is it a clown car? I got like a whole bunch of people, and that's where they had to put them.
Poor babies.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
No, the beer had to be strapped in, so the babies had to hit the floor.
Right on.
Now, this next story, like the headline kind of pissed me off, but then once I got into the actual story, then it made sense, and I don't blame this mother. 52-year-old lady, they didn't even say her name, but she was arrested because she took her 15-year-old daughter to a park to go and fight a 16-year-old. Now, I'm like, why? You know better. Why put your kids in this danger? Because people are shooting nowadays. You can't just fight. People don't fight no more. But anyway, evidently, her daughter was getting threats and threatening text messages from the 16-year-old. They got the police involved. The police talked to the 16-year-old and her mom, like, quit texting shit and quit threatening these people. But it didn't stop. So what the police didn't work. So mama said, we're going to handle this shit ourselves. They met up at the park, and I guess there were video surface of the mama egging the fight on. Yeah. And she watched. She was the promoter. Now, they don't say who won, but we do know that she got arrested. Now, the mama. Do you blame the mama for trying to end this shit herself? Because what the police didn't work.
Maybe that's what she just thought. Maybe the girl just needed a good ass whooping.
Oh, clearly, because she didn't know how to stop.
And legally, she couldn't whoop her butt.
And they went the legal way. And so what you want to do after that? You had to do the illegal.
Yeah, I mean, when I read the story, initially I was ticked, like you. You see the headline. It's like, why are you taking your kid to fight? That's just stupid. But as you read on and you find out, she tried to get the police involved and the police wouldn't do their job.
Yeah, that's what was surprising. I didn't think that they actually, reached out to the police. I'm thinking she's just taking matters into her own hands. And
at some point, that's what ends up happening when the police do not do their job. When the people that are there to serve and protect do not serve and protect, people end up handling things their own way. How the Black Panthers were born.
And hopefully, well, I'm sure the mother isn't upset at the fact. I probably would have did the same thing. I wouldn't mind going to jail, but I'm doing what I need to do to try to stop this shit from happening to my child. Right. I probably would have went to jail for actually putting hands on the child.
Right. I don't think I could have told my child to do it, but I would have probably went and done something.
Maybe she should have got like cousin Nene or something. She's 34-0 at the park.
She 34-0.
Yeah.
She known as the knockout queen.
that park is hers. It's named after.
The last thing we're going to talk about is a topic article that I found was very, very weird, and it's about this Spanish teacher at Monroe Middle School who decided to send the students with this assignment. And the assignment was titled, "How much privilege do you have?" Now, my first thing is, this is a Spanish class, and you're talking about, because when I hear privilege, the first thing I think about is white privilege, right?
Right.
But it was basically this form that they would fill out and circle everything that applies to them. And some of the categories included race, skin color, religion, sex, gender, sexual orientation, and disability. And under, I guess, sexual orientation, they had cisgender, which I don't know what that is, transgender, gender queer, which I've never heard of, asking about homosexuality versus you're straight, or if you have like a mental disability. Now, when you look at the chart and you got all these kids circling the categories they fall under, I still don't understand how this is going to show your privilege. Like the assignment didn't make any sense. Parents were outraged because it was basically trying to force these students to identify themselves when, it has nothing to do with your Spanish. You're supposed to be teaching these kids to speak in Spanish. And the teacher was saying she was trying to teach them about diversity and inequality through literature. And I just don't get it. So I understood why the parents were a little upset, because one parent, her daughter was ADHD, and the teacher kind of mentioned that we got students in here who are ADHD, and she felt like her child was being singled out when that's not anything that you should have to reveal or share in class.
Did they already know?
She didn't really say her name, but I don't know if the students knew. The teacher knew. And so she felt like her child was being singled out.
Well, the form that she was having them fill out, that first of all, they did not have to fill it out. The article did say they didn't have to fill it out. And also, I don't think anybody got the information but the teacher. From what I understand of it now, as far as what cisgender is a term for someone who has a gender identity that aligns with what they are assigned at birth.
Ain't that everybody?
That's what I'm thinking. The term was created for referring to non-transgender people without alienating transgender people. So just that the whole thought of cisgender in the first place is why do we have to come up with a name for me? Because we had to come up with a name for you. Mm-hmm. That's just silly to me, but whatever.
And these middle school kids knew what that was?
These were 13-year-olds.
Well, nowadays they teach them that. They didn't teach
they were
transgender.
12-year-old.
Back in.
I mean,
we knew what homosexuality was, but now it's new terms.
Yeah, it's new terms. They teach those terms, and they're learning those terms as little bitty kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can go in. You've got some parents that feel like you teach that. As you feel like me, when kids start asking questions, you teach, and kids can start asking questions around 5. So some kids already know, and they walking in kindergarten and first grade, and they have information. Mm-hmm. Some of them have the correct information. Some of them have incorrect information. And then if they don't learn it from a parent or guardian, they can pick it up from other kids, or they picking it up from television. So 12 years old, these kids know. They might not know what cisgender is, because heck, none of us knew. Mm-hmm. But they're going to know what transgender is. Right. They're going to know what homosexuals are. They're going to know what LGBT is, especially now. They hear that a lot. And then think about how many times you turn on just a family sitcom and you see gay people now. Mm-hmm. So that's just a new norm.
But even like you mentioned that the teacher was the only person that was going to get the results or whatever, then what was the assignment?
It was to start a conversation.
She was going to start a conversation about how much privilege these kids got?
Yeah. It was to start a conversation. And when you said when you think privilege, you think white privilege. I think it was YouTube that did a video a while back, and they put Mexicans.
YouTube?
Yeah, it was on...
a video on YouTube. I'm like, YouTube putting together their own video?
No, I don't think they did. Okay. I don't know who put it on YouTube.
Gotcha.
But that's where I saw it. But they took gay, Mexicans, whites, blacks, women, men, Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, and they put them all on a line, and they asked them a series of questions. Mm-hmm. And all of them started in the middle, and you were to take a step forward if you had never experienced this. You were to stay still if you went either way or had no effect, weren't affected by it at all, or step back if you were ever affected by it. And it was to show what white privilege really was. And at the end, all the white people were in the front, black people were in the back, and the very last person was the black woman. And I mean, it would just be things like, have you ever been discriminated against at a job? Have you ever felt uncomfortable when you were with a group of people for this particular reason or that particular reason? It was just basic questions. Mm-hmm. And it showed what white privilege was. What she was trying to do is she was just trying to have a conversation. That's what's wrong with us now. We don't have conversations. I remember when I was little, my grandmother used to say the one thing you don't talk about to people is religion, politics, and race. It always starts a fight. So you just you never talk about those. You don't talk about those in business. You don't talk about those at school. We are not having the conversations. That's why white people can sit here and have white privilege and don't realize it and don't understand it. They don't understand what it means to have white privilege, even though they get it every day. They don't understand how oppressed the black man is. They don't understand what happens when the black man gets arrested until they end up marrying a black man or having a black child, a black son who they raise to be a black man. Then all of a sudden, boom, we get it. They don't get it because we're not having these conversations. She was trying to have those conversations and she's having them in school.
I wish they would have expounded on how she was going, because I don't see the conversation that this Spanish teacher was going to have with these kids. I think
conversation.
What is it?
I see the conversation. How much privilege do you have? Do you have a disability? One of the things the mother said is, my child has ADHD. That's not a disability. Yes, it is. It's considered a learning disability.
So if you fall under any of these categories, then like the YouTube example, you take a step back.
Right, you take a step back because you are discriminated against at some point because you will have this learning disability. And think about it. If you have a disability, somebody's talking about you.
Right.
You know, if you're black, somebody's talking about you. Who are they not talking about? Blue-eyed, blonde-haired white men. Very rarely are they talking about blue-eyed, blonde-haired white women. You know, so
that makes sense.
It's
he talk about them all the time.
Well, that's true. But it was just about having the conversation. And yeah, I saw, as I read it, the more I read it, the lady that they had, the white mother that was so concerned, she was really ticking me off. Because she was saying things like, this is not the place for my child to learn this. This is Spanish class. All they're supposed to teach is Spanish.
Well, as a parent, though, you should understand that she may not want to expose her kids. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just saying she may not want to expose her kids to this conversation that the teacher wants to have.
She may not want to, but the reality is,
and she wants to teach it her way.
If the teacher don't do it, somebody else is. There's no way to protect your child from these conversations. There's no way to protect your child from white privilege. There's no way to protect your child from any kind of privilege. You can't protect your child from the truth of what society is.
I'm just saying, I don't think that there's anything wrong with her feeling that way.
I don't think there's anything wrong with her feeling that way, but what happens when you feel that way is you don't teach your child what they need to know to survive in this society.
How do you know what the teacher is teaching goes along with like your creeds, your morals, and all of that? Maybe that's a side.
But this
like
isn't about creed or moral.
How we know that though? How you know what's her end game with the questioning? Do she have a key that makes everything go in together?
I don't know what her true assignment
that's what
was,
we should
but
stop
from
at,
what I read, this is from what I'm read.
Yeah.
I'm only going off of what I read.
But we don't know her reasoning though. So you can't
we do
be mad
know
at
her
the mama for having those reasons.
She made a statement about how I had to find the statement. I didn't highlight it. She did make a statement about how she is trying to prepare children for society.
But you don't know what avenue she's going. You don't know what she's teaching.
From the article, yes, I do. She's trying to teach them privilege. They were getting ready to have a discussion about privilege.
But when you gather all of this together, what is she? You're saying just privilege, but what's the meat of what she's saying with all of this?
I think her understanding is she's taking what we read as far as this article and coupling it with the YouTube video that made when you explained that made sense.
I'm coupling it with what privilege is.
When I read the article, I didn't understand until you explained based on that YouTube video. That's what made it make sense to me.
Okay, and that's the YouTube video is just the example. But when they're talking about white privilege now. That is what.
But she just said privilege.
About.
We don't know.
Right? No, she just said privilege.
Right.
She did not say white privilege.
That was just my thought.
Privilege. She said, "Let's see how much privilege you have." She's trying to get them to see exactly where they stand, exactly what their privilege is. I don't have white privilege. I have black privilege. You know where black privilege puts me? All the way at the back of the line.
So, as a black parent, you would be okay with this teacher teaching your child that they ain't shit. They at the back of the line.
No, I don't think she was teaching that. I think she was teaching understanding privilege, understanding
I feel like
that
you're giving this teacher a lot of credit, and I understand.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying we don't know exactly what she's going to teach them.
I'm just saying from what I took from the article. This is what I took from it. She was teaching privilege. So those people who are at the front of the line should look back and see what happened. You're not looking at now. You're seeing this is your privilege. This is what you have because you're the blue-eyed, blonde-haired white man. But look at the privilege here. This is your friend Susie Q, and she's way at the back of the line. This is your friend. That's what I took it as. Because when you teach privilege, you're not just teaching your own privilege, you're teaching everybody else's privilege. See where this person is in line. See where that person is in line. See where this person is in line. Is this right? Is this correct?
Yeah.
That's the way I took it.
Right. And I
think that's one lesson plan, but I think she can take it either other way. And I think that's what the parents have a concern about. I don't know exactly what you're doing.
Here's the second part of that. A parent should never allow their child's teacher, to be the only teacher in their child's life. The parent has to be a part of the lesson as well.
Agreed.
And so who's to say that she's not? We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe she taught her child.
Said, my child is 12 years old. She don't know about this. She don't have a disability. She this, she that. I already know from everything she said coming out of her mouth, she's not teaching that child any
you
of
don't
this.
know that.
She may not be teaching those particular things. That doesn't mean she's not teaching the child anything. She's not teaching the child what you feel she should know, or this teacher feels she should know.
Something.
And I can understand not wanting the Spanish teacher.
I agree.
Like if it was a different type of class, then I can understand. But her not wanting the Spanish teacher,
because the Spanish teacher is teaching a different culture. Excuse me. It's teaching a different culture. And in order to understand a different culture, you've got to understand your own. You got to understand who you are to understand somebody else. I totally understand why it was coming from the Spanish teacher.
If I had a child, I would
pull my
you have to teach me.
You let me know
and present what you present to my
and
kids.
That's the other thing.
And that's it.
And
if I find something right, okay. If I find something wrong, then I have a problem.
Like you said, you'll go to the teacher and say, you need to tell me what's going on.
That's my
I don't
only
think
thing.
there's anything wrong with that. I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But they didn't go to the teacher and say, what are you trying to teach right here? They went and said, we don't like this. Stop. That's what they did.
I don't know if that's what they did.
Yeah, that's what they did. That's what the article said.
I don't know if that's what they did.
That's what the article said. Okay, I'm only going off of my article here. That's what the article said.
No. Again, I understand your argument. I also understand the mother's argument because that's her child. I mean, she may not want to expose her child to those things that you believe she should be exposed to. Understand? No. Understandably so.
She should be exposed to. The reality is she is being exposed. The teacher don't have to expose her to it. Mm-hmm. She's exposed to it every day. You're exposed to it every day.
Maybe.
You don't think you've exposed to white
people? I haven't been exposed. Some people are sheltered.
Are not exposed to these things. Some parents don't let their kids be on the computer.
Yeah, you don't know they're not watching TV or certain shows. You don't know.
Friends that they don't let them, they might know a little bit, but I want to explain this to my child. And it's like I remember when I was in middle school, some parents were mad because they were teaching sex ed and they didn't want them,
And that was the same argument they used back then. And how many kids came up pregnant?
It's the same thing. They have the same knowledge.
It's
they
the
still
same argument.
So.
Right, it's the same argument. My child, I'm sheltering, I'm protecting, I want to teach on my level, on my time, and so they never do, and the kid goes out and learns it.
Well, that's the assumption that you're making, that they never do.
You putting everybody in a little hole.
No, that woman specifically come from the words coming out of her mouth.
You're talking about that woman.
That's who I'm talking about. That woman.
We're talking about people in general, though.
People in general, no. I mean, some people actually do get involved and teach their children. Mm-hmm. Some people probably weren't. The parents of the children that didn't trip off of that, well, at least half of them, I'd say, probably weren't tripping because they've went and talked to the teacher, or they've already had these discussions with their children. Mm-hmm. And then the other half of those parents, They ain't caring what the kids
I think
learning
being
in
a good
school
teacher,
anyway.
especially with something like that, she'll present it to the parents before actually presenting it to the.
Who says she didn't? Who says it wasn't in her curriculum that she passed out at the beginning of the year?
Like you said,
no
like the
parent
woman, how
asked.
the woman sound like she didn't
how
know.
this woman that don't mean she didn't she didn't get it in a curriculum at the beginning of the school year. At the beginning of the school year, teachers pass out their curriculum.
We didn't.
Mine
The only time that started when I got to college.
Mine
I didn't
did.
get none in high school. I didn't get a career.
Oh, this is middle school
Mine
though.
did. It went into a letter to my mama.
Oh,
Well, that's you were raised different. You
No.
you were raised with privilege.
They didn't just,
yes,
they
you
didn't
were.
just give it to
We
me. They
were in
gave it
health
to
class, and all
every-
of a sudden I'm knowing I'm out masturbating, and I'm like, what was,
Yeah.
they didn't sit
And
there knowing my
nobody
mama.
asked,
They didn't ask my
Can we
my
show
mama,
you
daddy?
the birth
Yeah.
of this baby? They just
Oh
push
yeah,
play.
they did show. I didn't
Push
see
play.
all that poom poom just spread open. It changed my
I'm
life.
sorry. My mama knew about that because I did not go to class that day because I told her I didn't want to see that mess.
And see now that's probably why you ain't had no kids. You
Yeah.
don't know how
You
it
don't know
works.
what's
No.
going on.
I know why I don't have no kids. I was 30 years old in the gym, and they was watching that baby show on TLC, and I saw that mess in the gym. 30 years old, and I screamed at
That's
the
a damn
top of my
shame.
lungs.
Novelty. 30 years old.
I had never seen. No, it is one thing to know where babies come from, and another thing to see it.
Do you look at yourself down there?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, I'm asking. This is
really?
an honest question.
Yeah.
I can't look at myself
So
like that.
yes, you can't.
Not without a camera.
I mean, of course, like a mirror.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like examine yourself. I've heard some girls like, I want to see what it looked like.
Yeah.
Mine. You
And
never done-
now they got cameras you can hook up to your phone and you can like stick it in different places.
So,
It's
so
almost
I
like
can
a-
share it on YouTube.
it's almost like-
no, thank you.
You ain't got to
Well, you
share.
ain't got to share, but you can
It's
see
on
what's
your
going
personal,
on
yeah.
inside you.
No.
Novelty's poom poom.
No, that's for my doctor's eyes only, not mine. I don't need to see those kind of things.
It may be beautiful down there. You don't even know.
It just might be, just like they say that crawl space under my house might be. Cause my mama said, "Oh, it's nice and clean. You can go down there." I don't go down there.
Do you shave?
Why are we talking about what
I don't know.
My personal time?
that came in my head like that poom
Hey,
poom talk.
I'm
I'm sorry.
I was thinking it. I said, but I done already went too far with her already.
Okay, do you all shave? How about that?
No,
Nah.
that's not a thing. That,
Okay,
you know.
let's move on now.
That's it. You a woman.
Jesus Lord.
You know how y'all do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got for today. Hopefully, you guys were able to get something out of the lessons
out of nothing.
that we
only when you
presented
talk,
to you guys. But until next time, you all take care of yourselves. Novelty, any final words?
She said them all.
Oh, this.
What makes you? I might have a whole bunch more to
Her talk
say.
time about 50%, and us was 25 each.
Well, with my headache, I did not care.
Even sick, they stay on me. Good night, everybody.
JT,
Peace.
adios.